freedom is maintained. A vigilant sovereign citizen with God-given rights. Tyranny doesn't announce itself, but audits with in silence. Oh, 1776 wasn't fireworks, it was receipts. Taxing life, land, time, heat, red coats, dead notes, empire rules. Adam said fear banks more than guns. Jefferson warned what paper becomes. Franklin knew power loves delay. Inflate the future, steal today. No more bullshit from my fucked up government. If I didn't vote for the theft, you don't get my labor or breath. Sign your name, break the spell. This ain't rebellion, this is farewell. Declaration, final amendment, we withdraw consent. Fast forward, suits replace the throne. Same extortion bureaucrat tone. For your safety, for your good, trillions missing unaccounted for. Oh, that's just misunderstood. Understood. Black budgets, ghost wars, aid never lands, a never-ending tax. Some Molly daycares in the hood, but that's a drop. Tiny fraud in the flood. Black budgets swallow trillions unaccounted blood. No audits, no repercussions, no jail time. Every crisis.
All right. Sorry, that goes on for a while. I love the song, but it's 6 minutes and 36 seconds, and we have a lot to do today. If you guys want to follow my buddy JKL, it's Finite Energy 21. He's the person who created this, and I think it's fucking brilliant. But we've got more to talk about. So today, the agenda. We're going to be fast about this. Here's what we're going to be covering. Powell is finally gone today. Today's economic data and market metrics. We're going to look at those super fast. We're going to talk about how did the China trip go, why MicroStrategy is a monster, when will the Clarity Act actually be done, hint June or July. Is DRAM a good buy today since it's down 5.13% in the pre-market? Why the Cerebrus IPO coming in hot is very positive for markets, and then we're going to go over why oil isn't a big problem, and we're going to talk about chart and chat. I know the beginning sounds like a lot. We're going to go through it super fast, and without further ado, I think the message for the trip with China is being portrayed as negative in the media. Shocker, I know, but I'm going to give you a quick couple of minutes here telling you why that's not true. That is a lot of pomp for something that, I guess the narrative is that China doesn't need the United States and has all the cards. I don't know why they were flying all the American flags. Maybe it's a coincidence. Let's look at more here. So I just listened to CNBC this morning, basically talking about how nothing really came out of China. But I wanted to talk about a few things that did. One, there's a trade commission that's going to be created between China and the United States so that we're communicating better on trade-related issues. Some other things are they've agreed to buy more LNG gas. They've agreed to buy more U.S. oil. They're going to buy 200 Boeing jets. They're going to buy more soybeans from our farmers. And they've actually done a good job since their last commitment after the tariff war. They started off a little slow, but they have done all right. And give America anything Trump needs for Iran, and then they agreed pretty much to all terms on it. Now, they've still got some, we want Taiwan to be ours, and our response is nothing, and it's deliberately nothing, and we'll talk about why that is in a little bit. And again, here's the 200 plane order. Bloomberg's posting that. Actually, there's so many good scenes. I want to refresh this because there's some new stuff I added this morning, and I want to make sure it's in here. I hate the way these bookmarks work. Elon comments, I have a good feeling about these talks. I think there will be a good result. And he was having a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys saw the clips. We've got Donald Trump in this post saying, President Trump reveals to Sean Hannity that Chinese Xi Jinping has committed to withholding military equipment from Iran following their high-level discussions. Now, we got to see him do it. But here's the thing. Again, people said that they wouldn't abide by their agreement with the tariffs when that happened last year, and they are. So I think this is going to happen. It's probably a narrative that it won't. I think it is. Let's see what else. Xi expressed a strong desire to see the Strait of Hormuz remain open and free of interference. He said he's not going to give military equipment. That's a big statement. But at the same time, he said, they buy a lot of their oil, and they'd like to keep doing that. They do want to keep doing that. They need to do that because they buy oil from Saudi Arabia and UAE too, and they're getting less of it. So they do want to do that, and that's fine. And I think that's an agreement. Xi was quoted with talking about how America was in decline, and then also talking about how essentially America is headed down the right path and great again. Pretty awesome stuff. Citadel, Ken Griffin, think of that guy, has moved some of its core researchers out of Hong Kong, highlighting the pressures facing quantitative traders in the Chinese hub. The $67 billion U.S. hedge fund told his Hong Kong-based global quant team in recent months that they either relocate or leave the company. So you can't work there anymore. People don't want to work in China. They've been abysmal. And also, China has renewed import licenses for hundreds of U.S. beef plants, reviving trade in the meat sector as the leaders of the world, two biggest economies, meet in Beijing. So there's a bunch of things that are happening. And then we've got the U.S. approves around 10 Chinese firms to purchase NVIDIA H200s. So there's a lot of stuff that's like pointed in the right direction. And I think this is one of the coolest things right here. And I'll just read it real quick. Trump in Beijing, Gunther says, is playing 4D chess. His first official ask to Xi is to wide open the doors for American CEOs. But I think more importantly, he tried to show that we're open for business. And that is super crucial. Peter Ducey reporting live. Trump wants to let these brilliant minds work their magic. You bring the most brilliant tech people in our country over there. They grab their teams. They start talking. And Trump kind of broke up the normal agenda and all the pomp and circumstance. They did a lot of cool things. They had a lot of fun. But he tried to make it to where it was lighter and it was friendly. And I think that's a good thing that we have to do. Where obviously we have a huge rivalry. And I think both of us are going to be preparing for war no matter what. I think that's a safe assumption. But I do think that the more we're doing business with each other on fair terms, the better it is for humanity, and that reduces the risk of war. So I love all of that. I think this is great. And then look at this, guys. Like this is China here, and look at this. There's American flags all over Beijing. All over. I have to assume that's a good thing. Anyway, that's the China portion. Now we're going to look at today's economic data and metrics. So for economic calendar, today we have, let's see here. Let me refresh. 7:30 a.m. The times were wrong. Sorry. New York Empire State Manufacturing Index, industrial production, capacity utilization, and I think that's pretty much it. Just the yearly and monthlies of all these different things. That's going to be some good data sets. We did have data from yesterday too. We might cover that real quick, but we'll look towards that around 7:30. It looks like Eunice Yoon is talking from Beijing. I just see them talking about Boeing, so we're not going to cover that. We're going to move on. So that's some of what we're looking at. Markets too, real quickly, I'll show you some charts. Since this is chart day, we got to show charts. The S&P is doing exactly what we thought it was. People are telling me I'm not bullish. I'm making videos about Dow or S&P 8,000, and people are telling me, why so bearish? It's just hilarious to me. It is great that we broke through this RSI resistance downward trend line that was basically acting as a bearish divergence that went all the way back to early 2024. It's great that we broke through that. Almost 2.5 years of pulling us down. It's great that we broke through that and showed strength. And again, we broke through that resistance line that was about 1.5 years too. But that red line, guys, 8,000 is literally an 18-year trend line. So when I made that statement and people just kind of blow it off and say, why are you so bearish? I am not bearish. Breaking through almost 2 decades. I don't know how old you guys are, but 2 decades is a long amount of time in a human life. And breaking through that is going to be pretty monumental. So I am not bearish. I just want to be very clear on that. Let's see here. CNN Fear and Greed Index. Actually, let's look at this one too. We've got 49. So we've gotten more fearful in crypto. I love it. And CNN, let's check out the stock market side of things. We're in greed at 65, but again, I think we were 66 the other day. Yep, and it looks like a year ago we were 69. So I like it when things are a little bit lower. I like it when it's grinding down like this. That's okay. It's just we're just bull flagging, guys. We're bull flagging on the fear and greed index. All right. So we covered economic data. We talked about how Powell's gone. Who gives a shit beyond that? We are going to talk about Kevin Warsh more in the future. Not right now. Maybe in today's conversation at some point. Why MicroStrategy is a monster. That's the topic we're going to jump into next. And this, I'm astonished by everything that's happening right now. Couple things real quick with MicroStrategy. I put Bitcoin is still bullish, as a bull flag is likely to form after MicroStrategy selling pressure has died off for the month. I do think we could get even a bounce today, so we don't have to drop down here as I have it represented in this image. But again, MicroStrategy buying pressure is worn off. We still have 2 weeks until the next dividend date for ZETA, a much smaller entity that will only be able to gobble up so much Bitcoin. There's a lot of Bitcoin treasuries. SWC is accumulating again. Metaplanet's accumulating again. Strive is accumulating. MicroStrategy is accumulating. Everybody wants Bitcoin. But if we do get bearish, because that lack of buying power, I think we could trend this way. But I want to tell you, here's what's exciting. And this is a good clip, wife. June 1st, ZETA ex-dividend date, right? So that's 2 weeks from now. June 15th, STRC ex-dividend date. Okay, so another 2 weeks. So they're doing the rotation, but this is where it gets special on June 16th. So we are a month away from the start of daily dividend payouts. And there's an awesome thing about daily dividends, guys, because when you get paid out daily, it's like they're taking less of the float. And so your money, if whatever you got on that daily payout, even though it's a smaller number, you got it right away. And so then when you get that next payout, that adds onto it. And the next one, that adds onto it. And so because you're getting more payouts, you're actually making more money, which is fascinating. And it's brilliant. And it also takes liquidity and it smooths it out. And you can see representation of that with both STRC and ZETA. STRC, because of its size and people getting excited about it, it's really stabilized. You can see where it was dropping down hard here after the ex-dividend date. It would get paid out, and then it would kind of roll over. That's not great. You don't want to hold this. Nobody wants to hold a drop down to 92 when that's essentially the entire gap of what they're supposed to make in interest for this company. They don't want that. Now, can you deal with a drop of 1%? That's doable. But here's the thing. I don't even think it has to drop 1%. Because of the two doing it every 2 weeks. And with their size and their volume, I think that works. I do think it was incredibly smart for Strive. Love you, Matt Cole, Ben Workman, Jeff, all you guys, dude. All you guys that work with Strive are fucking badass. The MicroStrategy people, too. Such huge respect for the economic vehicles that you're building. But with Strive, you can see here, they're already... Again, the points of volatility, they're a little bit thicker. They were really bad here. Look at this. In February, this thing dropped down to 80% of the 100 par. So you were down 20% from where you were on something where you think you're going to get paid out 13%, maybe 12 at the time. So you had to have some high conviction to put money into it. But look at this. Now, like recently here, this last one, since the last ex-dividend date, we're down a little over 2%. A little over 2% worth of loss. That's very much more acceptable. But once they do these daily, people won't leave them. There's quants that do arbitrage back and forth, and that won't be a thing. So this is fucking awesome, guys. We're 1 month away from such beautiful things for Bitcoin and MicroStrategy and everything, right? Strategy to repurchase 1.5 billion principal amount in 2029 convertible notes. Strategy is paying off its fucking debts. Oh my God. People don't know what's coming, guys. They don't know what's coming. We're going to talk about what's coming because it's exciting to me. Vivek Sin, I like this guy. He's a good dude. He said Michael Saylor announced Strategy will soon buy over $14 billion worth of Bitcoin. We'll get to 1 million on the balance sheet, he put. But here's the fun part, guys. He has that for 2028. That's happening this year. These guys bought 25,000 Bitcoin in a period of less than a week. 25,000. $2 billion worth. It's just fucking insane. And so he was talking about 14 billion, right? 14 billion they're going to spend. He just did 2. He did 1/7 of his allotment of purchases, and that's in 1 month. So that just, if you just do math, if you don't assume acceleration, this year they'll be at 1 million. If you do assume acceleration, maybe it's 1.1 or 1.2. So I'm very excited about what's happening right now. And again, I think, just look at this, guys. Look at this. Imagine what happens if companies like MicroStrategy and Strive start gobbling up over 50,000 Bitcoin a month. It's coming. So just in, again, this is a period of a week, 25,000 Bitcoin. That's what MicroStrategy just consumed, with dividends that they have money for, and now they're wiping out all their debts, just like Strive did. Strive got rid of all theirs. This is amazing. I hope you can understand this. I'm really trying to highlight it. Even Jim Cramer gets it, and he's borderline fucking retarded most of the time. Let's listen.
I would say that this man is not to be trifled with. Sailor will come on Squawk. He'll come on everywhere. He'll come on every show. It wouldn't shock me. He pops up at the White House for all I know. He will do whatever's necessary. He is the Malcolm X of...
Real quickly, Kirby Tax. Crazy how no one cares about 11.5% yield. I tell my circle about it, and they're like, oh, it's interesting. But then I tell them it's about Bitcoin, and they don't care. They will. They will. You know, you've been here, dude. You know it all comes in cycles, right? People's realization of what Bitcoin is going to come very quickly as the price goes higher. And then eventually it'll be God reincarnated, because that's how it works at the top of a bubble. I just can't wait for the ride, because to me a bubble's like 250,000 plus, right?
Bitcoin, okay? Malcolm X, right?
Yes.
By any means necessary, he will defeat the shorts. Defeat the shorts.
We will see.
That's what his job is. I mean, when he gets up in the morning, he puts on whatever kind of...
And he does it by finding truth and applying capital to it. That's what makes it special. It's not just screwing the shorts with words or anything like that, right? It's not trying to manipulate like we saw Nikola do. Anybody remember that company? It's not trying to manipulate or cheat people in some way. It's nothing like that. It's literally, he's found the truth. He found Bitcoin, and now he figured out what he can do to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible while providing people with a better payout, dividend type payment, money market type payment, savings account type payment that blows away everything else on earth and is incredibly safe at the same time. I can't say much more than that. Jackson, thank you for joining and becoming a member. You can talk and chat. We will do charts in a little bit here. We're about halfway through already with the other stuff I wanted to cover. Alex, STRC is now doing 1% of total BTC volume per day. That's beyond what anyone thought was possible. 1% of the Bitcoin volume is these guys, and they're gobbling up Bitcoin at a rate. Yesterday alone, they picked up 27 days of new issuance of Bitcoin. 27 fucking days. In one day. So they're operating at a rate that's, I think, trending well above 1 day equals 10 days of purchase of Bitcoin issuance, which means we're heavily negative. And we already know that Michael Saylor's company has consumed for the last several years, basically since he started doing this, has consumed almost double the Bitcoin supply. So, yes, there were other reasons we sold off. Jane Street manipulation. Looks like they're pretty much done. And then people selling, billionaires. Imagine if you got into Bitcoin when it was like $1, $7, $15, and you're a billionaire or a hundred millionaire. Like, you're fucking rich. You were here for it. You built it. And I can see why you'd want to take some off and just live your life. You're at a great stage. Why not do that? You put in the work. You told everybody about it, and you put your capital towards it. You won. Spend some of your fucking money and enjoy your life. So I get why Bitcoin went down in October. Hindsight's always 20/20. At the time, I was still very bullish. But here's the thing. I can wait years for something to go my way. The only thing that got me this last year in October was short-sightedness with options that were only a couple of months to go. That was stupid. I'll never do that again. But this is exciting. This is exciting. And now we have STRC. I mean, look at this. What is he saying? All-time high, $1.53 billion of liquidity in one day, 2 cents of volatility. 2 cents. He's telling you it's nothing. It's nothing. And people want that. And I put this is the best metaphor. Joe Burnett put this out, right? Bitcoin just sucking up the universe. And that's what it's doing. The entire financial world is being transformed, and so few people see it. I hope people see this. I hope I'm conveying this in a good way. MicroStrategy said, I posted here, if you listen to the conference call, he said he's going to do it way less. They were talking that was in regard to, I don't like the dilution. I said he's going to do it way less. He wants the premium to be 2 to 6x their holdings. If they're diluting at that level, it'll be immediately accretive. And this is something I hope I can convey well today too. MicroStrategy right now is probably operating at a premium of like 1.3. Okay. What does that mean? It means that they're being valued, the stock, at 130% of their actual holdings of Bitcoin. So they're giving it a premium, which companies get, a regular business gets a massive premium. When you got a forward PE ratio of like 100, you've got a huge fucking premium in that company, right? Like an Intel or something. You're saying, I fucking want this thing so bad, I'm willing to pay an exorbitant amount of money for it. Right? Like people have owned Tesla for years, 4.5 years. It's went sideways. But, you know, they got into that after it had run 31x. And they were paying a massive premium. So premiums are important. Now, normally with a business, you'd have a premium. And before, like if you diluted your shareholders, like they were doing with equity, you would have to wait until whatever the dilution was for that company. Like you want to build a new manufacturing facility. That won't be accretive or really be providing value again until it's built. It could take years. Maybe it's 3 or 4 years before it's actually accretive, right? And starts to really affect the balance sheet. MicroStrategy has the ability to do that instantly. And it increases the amount of Bitcoin each shareholder has when they do it. If they operate at a 6x fucking premium, like Michael Saylor said he wanted to do, he wants it to be between 2 to 6x. If it's 6x, then that means when they issue shares, they can buy Bitcoin when their company is valued. Like right now, let's say if they were 6x their current holdings right now, instead of being a $65 billion company, they'd be closer to $250 billion. So if they diluted 10% on that, they just grabbed $25 billion to buy fucking Bitcoin, but it was only 10% dilution. So what he's telling you is he wants to get that multiplier cranked up to the fucking max. And in doing so, he'll be able to make it immediately accretive. Because again, if you can buy a shit ton more because people are highly valuing your business and you don't have to tap the equity as much because you're pulling in $2.5 billion in a fucking week, then you have the ability to increase that multiplier significantly and make it to where the engine could be stronger than it was over the last 2 years. Now, this is a much larger market cap, but what I'm trying to eloquently tell you is this could be $1 trillion company in 2027 or early 2028. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. I hope it comes across correctly. This is a company that is worth $65 billion today. And I'm telling you, it could be $1 trillion company by 2028, in 2028. I hope I'm conveying this. We're going to be getting to charts. Actually, we were in a chart. Let's look at it. MicroStrategy, I think, again, I've said this for a while, shoulder, head. I think we're going to try and paint a shoulder, maybe test back into the support zone. It could go down to what, like a 160 or something even. Doesn't have to happen. But I think this could happen, or at the very least like a 170, something like in this range, and then completing a shoulder. And then the measured move gets us into the thick of it. It gets us up to this volume peak over here. I would assume maybe we could even touch up here, but we're coming back down, and then it's going to be a fight. That's my guess, and that could take months. for that to play out. But I think you can go up a lot. I've got to readjust this real quick. I'm thinking with MicroStrategy, and then I want to look at Strive too, guys. And then we'll be done with that portion of it. And then we've just got a couple other topics to go over, and then we're going to be talking about charts. So we're moving a lot quicker. All right, so I'm telling you that you can get 60 to like 80% upside for MicroStrategy from where we are in the next 2 months. That's what I think we can do in the next 2 months. Because again, remember, July, all these ex-dividend dates are just going to be pumping like fucking crazy. Guys, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, if you think I'm doing a better job of presenting it, can you please hit the like button? There's over 300 of you. It would be great if you could do that. Very much appreciated. Talk to each other in chat too. Have some dialogue back and forth. For this show now, we're going to do like the topics on Friday really quickly. I'm going to try and make it more efficient on Monday and Wednesday too. But then we're going to get to the charts and chat, and that's where I'm going to be talking more to you guys. But you guys can talk to each other about everything. Share information, have dialogue. It doesn't just have to be with me. I might still catch your comment, but yeah, check it out. Central says, MSTR FUD is so bad that Grok said that 500 million outstanding shares, it's only 350 million outstanding shares. Yeah, there's so much. People are going to figure it out soon enough. I think MSTR is a great deal. I'm buying DRAM though today because I already have so much of MSTR and Strive. All right, real quickly, I want to show you Strive's chart too while we're here. So you can see right here how we've went up hard. I actually think this is going to turn into the third monthly candle. That's a 3 white soldiers, which is like one of the most disgustingly bullish patterns you can possibly have. Right now, we're still grinding here. It's kind of sad. We're all the way down to 140% gains from the bottom for Strive that we hit just a couple of months ago. 140% in 2 months. Feel like it's a pretty good number. Let's readjust some of these here. I think we're going to have a quick 54% upside. I think with this one, we could get to 130% in the next couple of months. Now, it's going to be harder. There's the warrants that expire in September. Maybe that acts as an issue. I think they can blow through it, though, just because I think volumes are going to increase so much when people figure out what's going on. That's Strive. All right. Let me go back here. Hopefully I've done a good job articulating. Have I done a good job telling you guys why I believe that MicroStrategy and Bitcoin and Strive, hopefully I have. Bitcoin, if we look in the bottom right corner, as soon as I bring it up, you'll see that it is doing a good job so far of holding on to that level. I think we could actually drop down to, like I said before, the 78,000 range, maybe even 77. I still think that could happen. It could grind for another week. We have a month until the volumes really pick up, but really pick up for Bitcoin accumulation. Anyway, that's what I wanted to tell you there. I still haven't seen why futures are red options. I think it's China. I think I said earlier that the messaging was that China was not good and that nothing really happened, but I just got done showing you everything that did. So I think that's going to be short-lived. It might last through today. I think it's a buy the dip day. And we'll see. There could be tough talk. Here's what happens. China publishes one thing, and then they say another thing to us, and then there's what they do. They're always going to publish how tough they were. They're always going to publish how they won, how they talked about Taiwan, how they just bent us over and just railed on us real good, right? On their official communications in their country. It's always that way. That's understood. Then there's what we actually talk about, which I think was very positive. And again, business-to-business relationships. Let's get this going. Let's get trade going. Let's stop biting each other. China, you're hurting. The United States, we don't want to deal with what's going on in the Strait of Hormuz. We can survive it, but we've got a rocket fuel economy. Why don't we use that rocket fuel economy to benefit you and keep you from failing? And why don't we build up some of our relationships? Why don't you? We could have an unofficial. We'll leave you alone with Taiwan for 3 years and let you guys build out all your chip facilities, and then we can talk even more. All those things. Oil's up. Oil's up. Oil's not up. Oil's actually down since yesterday. It's actually sitting at 99. So we've magically pushed back to where this deep level of resistance is again on a Friday, and that's where we're sitting. So we were sitting at 101, 102 yesterday. So that's actually come down. So I don't think that's it. But where was I? I lost my train of thought. Anyway, I think it's going to be a good day for that. And let's get to the next point. Is DRAM a good buy today? Let's go to it real fast. Trade Whisperer, MU, DRAM, TSM. Holy shit. I like it when the guy who was teaching everybody about this and who's made over 1,000% on these on average for his account since, the beginning of the year. I like it when he's excited about something. He said 2026, 12 high performance bandwidth memory stacks per substrate, 2029, 64. That's a bigger number for anybody who can't do math. 5x structural expansion of HBM demand per system. The memory content per platform is not peaking. It's just getting started. So he's saying we're going to be using a lot more in the future. I know there's the narrative about Cerebrus. We got to talk about them in a second too. But I know there's the narrative about Cerebrus and not needing as much memory. I think that's what's driving us down in the memory sector. Probably hit Korea a little bit last night. Speaking of Korea, the Kospi has hit a new all-time high of 8,000 today and then crashed 8.4% in the same session, wiping out. This is what you get. The Kospi index, I probably should pull up that chart sometime, is just straight up and to the right. And here's the thing. It's a re-rating. South Korea is one of the biggest beneficiaries as an overall economy of what's going on with AI. It's awesome for them. But you're going to have this. And I'm buying the dip today. If we look at DRAM, let's get our charts going here. If we look at DRAM, we're actually down. So we're down to here. 79.49%. We'll look at MU in a second too. This just doesn't have a lot of history, so I really haven't done too much with it. But what we can do is this. This is probably a good thing. Let's do a fib retracement. Let's find the bottom and the top. I think that we're just going to stop here. I think we already found support. It was a pretty big bounce, and then we went higher. I think we're just creating a little bit of a bear flag, and then we're going up more. That's my take on DRAM. Let me see. Do I have MU pulled up? I do. Let me find it. Sorry, I'm trying to do this in a more structured way. Do you guys like what you're seeing? A lot of gaps, but I wouldn't worry about those gaps. It's the underlying that really matters. And there's going to be a lot of, whenever you have, if you have a structural change, technicals are going to fail you. Okay? They're just going to fail you. And don't get me wrong. If we go down more, I hope we do. I hope we do. I don't own enough memory. I want more. I'd rather get it sooner than later. I mean, I'd rather Bitcoin go up a bunch right now, which it kind of started to do with ASST and MSTR. But it's retracing today too. But I would like to see one of these sectors doing really well, and that way you can just trim a little bit and then throw it in the other. And I really want more memory. So I would love for Bitcoin and crypto to do better first, and then be able to dial into more memory because there's good times ahead. But you're right, there are a lot of gaps. If we go back here, if I zoom in, I got to save these two. I'll try and do it. Maybe I'll do it later. I don't want to waste your time. But right here to here, here to here, here to here. Here's the thing. This isn't going back to here. I don't even see it getting to here or here. Maybe it gets to the first one and closes that and leaves the other two. But again, this is a re-rating. There's another one down here. You're going to find a ton of these. It doesn't mean it's ever coming back to it again. King Smile, stay away from MSTX and MSTU. Both will deteriorate. I don't like them, man. If you get a bunch of chop, you're going to get fucked in them. They're like shitty versions of options. Every 2x play is a really shitty version of an options play. And if you don't know how to do options, you shouldn't be in a shitty version of an options play, should you? You just shouldn't. All right, let's keep going. Even Lynn Alden kind of doom, Bitcoin saving the world. Nothing stops this train. America's never going to be able to figure out how to get their finances in order, nor is any other country on earth. But I still like China better, and I might be a dude. I'm just kidding, but I'm not. She could be. I'm not sure. But I do like her. I just know that she didn't like Elon a lot after he was talking about like his transgender kid thing. So it makes me think that. I'm pretty sure I see an Adam's apple too. But I also love Lynn, and I've got her books. So Lynn, please don't fucking hate me, and nobody clip this because I love you. But she said she thinks memory companies have room to go higher. So she sees the bubbles. She's really smart on a lot of things. I think she's got a little bit of TDS and EDS, just like little bits, because I think she's very rational. Dude, for sure. Okay, maybe. You could be right. But I think I'm going to call her she because she looks enough like a girl where I'll give it to her, okay? I think she is brilliant, and I don't care about any of the other stuff. I was just making a joke. Equity investor, understand the types of memory powering AI data centers and the stocks and ETFs exposed to this massive trend. HBM is becoming one of the biggest bottlenecks in AI infrastructure, and then they go into all the different types. That one I don't care about so much. And this we talked about. We've already done this. We're going to go to MU real quick. I do have a little more to talk about there and some AI stuff. And then we're done with this section. We'll talk about the Cerebrus IPO and oil really quickly, and we'll be done with this. And then we're on to charts, guys. It'll be about 7:40, and we'll be on to charts, which is kick-ass. Oh, we do have economic data, though. Let me go back to it. She could be a tomboy. Totally possible. Can we go back to tomboys? Can we do that? Anyway, does somebody have to, I'm not going to go into it. Does somebody have to hack off their tits or their penis just to pretend to be something else? Can't they just like, hey, I like dude things, or I like playing with Barbie, whatever, dude. Like, you do you. But do you have to hack off your shit, is all I'm saying. All right, I'm done. Friday. New York State. Let's look at it. Did we get anything? So that's the only metric we're getting right now. 19.6. Shut the fuck up. Is that right? That doesn't look like a 19.6. That it's not generated in the chart. It's not generated in the chart, guys. But this is insane. They were expecting a 7.5 or a 7. Let me get Bitcoin off of here. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is crazy. Wow. A 19.6. We're like up over here. I got to see what Spantelli has to say about this, guys. We got to go back. This is crazy.
No, I don't want to brag.
Oh, that ain't it. That ain't Spantelli. It's a great song, though. I've actually been listening to that in my car. Imagine me rolling up next to you in a Cybertruck. I've got a tablet sitting in front of me, and it's blasting this fucking video with the big old bass.
They said this about a lot of things. No,
That's me. I'm pretty sure I pulled up next to somebody, or my car did, and it was a Subaru. And so you're in trouble right away. Sorry to Subaru owners. But you're in trouble with that. And then I saw a no king sign, and I saw some like blue or purple hair, and I was like, oh shit. But she was quiet the entire time. But I was just blasting that shit out. She had no kings sitting on her dash. She just keeps a cardboard sitting around, I guess. Pretty psychotic, if you ask me. But anyway, I don't know why we went off on that rant, but we're going to go back. Let's go back. Where were we? Yeah, economic data. Economic data and Rick Schmantelli. That's what we were doing. I need to find him. Did he talk about this already? I need to go back. One second. He must have. They didn't even cover it? How the fuck do you not cover this? I guess we're not. Oh, they've got Secretary Wright. They'll probably do it afterwards. Anyway, we're going to cover it now because that's insane. May actual reporting 1960. This chart doesn't show you that. Let me go out further maybe. Oh no, now it does. I had to refresh it. So this is the highest number since April of 2022. And before that, the end of 2021, guys. This is like the best number since we were doomed by the Fed raising rates at the most aggressive rate in history. Fuck you, Jerome Powell. You did a great job. Inflation is transitory. Enjoy your last day. That's how I know liberals especially love to praise this man. But fuck you. Goodbye. Bring in Kevin Warsh. This is beautiful. So we'll go back to data points again, guys, but this is beautiful. New York Empire State Manufacturing Index came in as gorgeous as it possibly can. I would expect a market bounce from that. We'll see how things play out, but I would expect it. Now, ServiceNow just inked a deal with Experian, launching autonomous agents across their platforms. Dude, autonomous agents are the future. That's the next thing we're covering right now. But we've got a couple other things coming up at 8:15. We're going to try and look at that. Let's get through this quick, though. We got to move. Let's go to AI, and then we're done with that. And then we'll just cover Cerebrus and oil real quick, and then we're in charts. So give me 5 minutes. Data centers are becoming a power giant. AI is reshaping the electricity grid. We went from 0.5% in 2004 to 2% in 2016. Think about that. Only 2%. Now we're at 7% in 2025. That's just going to ramp so much. It's going vertical. I said the one thing, I just want to put this out into the ether. I own these things. I own Nebius. I own Cypher. I own CleanSpark. I own these things. I said one thing I don't like about Bitcoin miners and AI data centers is high capex. Sam talks about that here. I said it seems like picks and shovels are a better play, which is why I like undervalued companies that have PEs that are forward PEs that are in single digits, especially when they're growing, when they've got some of the highest growth rates. They're the best companies in the Rule of 40 are SanDisk and MU in the United States, and then in South Korea they're these others. They're Hynix and Samsung, right? And so that just seems like a better play to me, which is why I have a lot more money focused on it. This is after NBIS CFO, the chief financial officer, said we're raising our CapEx expectations. So just think spending requirements to $20 to $25 billion. Sam Badawi's a great guy. He put, let's not kid ourselves here. This is a huge CapEx business. Nebius will likely have an offering soon, so don't be surprised. So they're what he's essentially saying is they've got to pull in a bunch of money. They got to pull in a bunch of money. So I just want you to understand this. I'm going to look at the financial real quick just to show this to you too. And it's went up a ton, and I love that, and that's great. But just remember what it looks like. I might have to just do this later. It's not pulling up. I'll fix that. Oil's actually, I know I don't care. I don't care about that. Oil's actually at 104.43. Yeah, I don't care. I'm good. I'm looking at the contract I want to look at. And the trend all looks the same. It doesn't really matter. The price of oil is getting pulled down in the future. That's all I care about. Trade Whisperer. What the $1 trillion semiconductor TAM, total addressable market, that just means how big can the market be, was supposed to arrive in 2030. It just got pulled into 2026. So they pulled that into 2026. So now instead of 2030, which is our previous path, guys, this is fucking insane when you think about it. Instead of 2030, TSMC, the Taiwan Semiconductor, told us that instead of this, we're going to be at $1 trillion in 2026 and $1.5 trillion by 2030. So that's just a 50% higher raise of the ceiling. Probably nothing. Ragnar, if you're serious about AI agents, read the post below carefully. So this ties in with that now comment we just heard. My 30 observations on the greatest opportunities in AI agents. And he lists the new buyer on the internet as an agent. Every franchise system in America needs an agent layer. He's just talking about all the ways that agents could be put into businesses to help optimize them and make them more efficient and increase productivity. And that's fucking awesome. That's awesome. Like, that's so exciting. And then AI networking is expected to grow by $11 billion in 2025 to $154 in 2028. So this is copper-based and optics-based. So again, everybody's focusing on optics. It's probably because of the growth rate, right? Copper-based. I love copper. I think there's going to be a lot of copper utilization, but think lower multiple. 8 billion to 34 billion is a lot less than 3 billion to 120. Okay? Anyway, that's it on that. Real quickly, Cerebrus. I'll just make a quick comment. I think that the IPO coming in hot and having to raise a bunch of times and issue more shares, raise the price, issue more shares that they want to sell, and then having it pump, almost 100% a day and then back down to up 67% on the day is really positive for the market. We have a huge IPO schedule in front of us. It's just brilliant. And then we're going to do war and then our oil, and then we're going to jump in to charts. So hopefully this went a little quicker. I had a lot to cover. Also, Josh Mann is back to being a MicroStrategy bull. I don't like that guy, but that's good. I do think his prediction might end up being right, albeit off by a year or two. I do think he'll probably be right about the 440 or whatever he had. I put both Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates I don't know, I didn't word this well, are going to be able to completely bypass the Strait of Hormuz next year. I guess with the proper incentives, markets can fix problems. Who knew? So what is this about? UAE is building a new pipeline that completely bypasses the Strait of Hormuz and will be in operation next year. So to be clear, that's the UAE. That's not Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is already up to 12 million barrels a day with their alternative route that they've made to where it can quickly repair itself. So that's one comment on oil. Sorry, let me go back here. Oh, I don't know why that did that. Oh, I guess it just finds them all. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Actually, I never use it. I guess I'll try and find it. There's more, but we don't need to go into all of it. We can just go into charts. That's fine. Let me look at chat. So I'm going to do something first. I'm going to show some of the charts that I like to commonly go over. So we're going to do that. We've already covered MicroStrategy and Strive. We got them out of the way. We've covered the memory stocks real quickly. I want to show Tesla because I think Tesla is really sitting good. There's a couple things going on here. So we got this rising wedge, but I would argue that's not actually a big deal. I'm going to actually make this small because it's not really important. But what I think is happening here is I think we're getting ready to break out of this range. And so what we're looking at right here, guys, is a cup and handle. If I shrink this down, I'll just do it to the weekly. It's a little more visible, right? Like cup, handle, a little deeper than I'd like it normally to go, but there's a nice volume shelf there. So we'll just call it a dirty looking cup and handle. I was going to call it something else, but I'm not going to. Anyway, so we'll just look over here. We'll set this up. I think conservatively, this is going to launch us into the .618 right here. And it doesn't have to happen immediately. I think there could be a delay. Maybe there isn't. I mean, people are going to eventually figure out what Teslas can do. Like I said, when I'm driving around with my Tesla and everybody's listening to my Trump music, which I'm sure they love, they're definitely going, is that car driving itself? And who is that asshole? So either way, it gets them interested, and it's another touch point. Thank you to the almost 400 people that are here. Can you guys please hit the like and show your appreciation for my work? It would be great. Thank you very much. Let's look over here and see what else we got. Let me see. SoFi. I know a lot of people have talked about that. I actually think the stock looks really good. Just to clarify, we've got this very long trend that's turned in. It went from resistance to support now. I think we're grinding in this zone. Maybe we could stay down here for weeks. I don't know. Or maybe it comes back quickly. Software has been incredibly beat up. I think this kind of falls into the software financial destruction that everybody's been experiencing. EOC was one I'm not very impressed with, and I bought it and I sold it right away. And again, we almost essentially, not on the daily, but I mean, if you look at other time frames, we closed the gap. We went really, really high and then it just got destroyed because it just seems like a bunch of promises and they got a thing with Cerebrus. I don't know. I just want to give this one the smell test before I start putting capital towards it. I do like NVIDIA better. Guys, hopefully we're getting a lot more efficient. We're only 45 minutes in and we're grinding through charts like a motherfucker. NVIDIA broke out above resistance that goes back to the end of 2022. So 2023, 2024, 2025, for over 3 years, 3.5 years, this thing has been grinding down while everything else has been benefiting because of what's been happening with housing and what's been happening with solar. But I think they're doing enough with efficiency, and then they're working on battery systems. This is an exciting play for me. I might even add some today. I was sold out, or you know what? I don't even think I can. My Warsh rule, I can't do it, and I don't. I had like a 20,000 loss or something. I don't want to lose that. So I might just wait it out. But this is interesting. EUV and BOT. I'm not going to talk about them today as far as like what I think, because they're just new and there's a bunch of companies in it. I did have queries running though, where I was doing research against it. And I want to do much more thorough research, and so I'm going to do that, and then get back to you guys probably Monday. Ask me about it, and we can go over it. I'm going to update the SoFi chart real quick too before I close. All right. So anyway, so in phase, I think the chart looks good though. That's the thing you should focus on, not what I'm doing with it, because that doesn't really apply to you. But I think the chart looks good. Metaplanet, there's more talk about Mars. We broke out. We're back testing now. I still think this thing it's not going down. It could grind here, and it's going to get back above 220 something. If they can get Mars, it's just going to be such a game changer. Otherwise, it's going to lag Strive and strategy, and that just is what it is. I'm not going to finish all this chart. I'll do that later. Let's look at the big guys. We talked about Nebius for a second. Let's jump over to some of that, and then we can go to other things. And we'll be looking at your charts too. So Nebius literally had a perfect rejection off the next fib level. Pretty common stuff. It's coiling underneath of that, I would assume. I don't think it's falling anytime soon. It's done really well. If you look over here, guys, in October of 2024, well, yeah, I guess that is a long time. This is a long time. But October of 2024, a year and a half ago, this thing was down at $14, and now it's at $213. So again, if you got it in the 11s or 12s, a year and a half ago, and now you're in the 200s. You're a pretty happy person. I do think these can go higher, but I don't think they're going to perform as well as like a DRAM or MU. I just don't think. I think we're looking at a re-rating on those. But it's interesting, right? And I know my buddy Tanner loves this one. Might have to talk about it. Maybe I'll talk with him about Nebius and a bunch of these others and get his take. And we can just kind of talk through some of my thoughts too and see what he thinks. Let me put this back. I just realized this isn't locked, so I need to lock it. All right. So iron up 976 from the low. So you're almost a 10x really since April of 2025. So over a shorter time frame, but a little less return of Nebius. But if we look at this, I mean, this is a perfect breakout consolidation. We're grinding underneath the fib. I'd like to see it establish a base above this. And if it can do that, it's off to the next fib, at least to this previous high as a test. So 76 to 87 is the range. I think that could come pretty quick. Cypher. And again, in 30 minutes, I'll probably try and stick around for that. We'll get the rest of that economic data. Cypher looking real good. It's consolidating above the breakout zone. It already started this breakout, so it's actually ahead of iron. I talked about this a while ago, like months ago. It's probably going to outperform because it's smaller, right? This is a $9 billion company versus a $21 almost billion company versus Nebius at a, what was Nebius at? Oh, I'm sorry. Nebius is a 55 billion. Iron is a 21 billion. SoFi doesn't count. And then Cypher is a 9 billion. So you got a much smaller entity there. So that one's already starting to outperform. It's got about 41% upside to get to the next level. It's probably not going to take a lot of time to do it. CleanSpark. And I'm going to cover Soluna today because I purchased that. So yeah, we'll be going over that, JDF. So CleanSpark, again, I think it's got to get above this resistance line that's haunted it going back to 2018, 19, 2000. Yeah, technically the end of 2018. That is about 28% upside, 29% upside. But it's going to be a fight. It's starting to hit this thing more recently here, more actively, and that's good. And that means that it's likely to go higher. This is only a $3.6 billion. The narrative here is that we're holding off and we're waiting for a better deal. We could have signed shitty contracts earlier, but we don't want to. I don't hate that idea. It's a great narrative at the very least. Soluna is a company that was dying for a while. This is a Mike Alfred play. That's the only reason I'm buying it, if I'm being honest. It's 244 million, so remember how small it is. That's going to be an important thing to note. I can go back here to the dot-com bubble, okay? Soluna, how long has Soluna been around? Since 1981. Hasn't had a great track record. Really started to bottom out here in April of 2025. So again, I think they've tried to reinvent themselves, and Mike Alfred likes it. That's about the extent of my knowledge right now. But I've taken a YOLO bet on this. I think I got a little over 20K in it. And we'll see what happens with it. From a technical standpoint, all of the volume is underneath of us. This thing could go up. I mean, but just again, look at this. This is going back to 2021. This thing was almost $500 a share. It's currently sitting at $196 in pre-market. So this is a Hail Mary, but man, this could be something fucking awesome. I wouldn't put your life savings towards it. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me see what else we got here. I'm going to show BM&R real quick and some others. There's some software stocks that look interesting. BM&R, again, consolidation, beautiful consolidation, above the 100, above the 200, above all peak volumes, set to rock and roll. I think it's a quick run up another 38%. It won't take long. If the market is going up, this thing's going with it. SWC, they've been buying Bitcoin more. They're very tiny. I would love to see them. And I don't know if you know the answer to this, please say something. I can ask Grok too, I suppose. I don't know. This one's been utterly fucking crushed. One of my worst performing investments. This stuff went to dust in my opinion. It did drop from the high, from where I was probably very excited about it. It dropped almost 96%. That is fucking painful. So this has not been a fun ride. But it's down about 94 right now, and they're starting to accumulate more Bitcoin. They're only valued at, it says 128 million. I'll check that stuff later. But they're consolidating above the 100 moving average after bouncing off the 50, after bouncing off this downward trend line. and then getting above peak volumes. So this is, in my opinion, looking very good. And I think it could have a killer run, doubling it fairly quickly. And I probably need to actually start drawing this one out. So I'll update that chart later and get it to you. Real quick, DFDV on the Solana front, guys. If you like the Solana treasury front, you can see this breakdown. It did the measured move perfectly. Look at this. I didn't even update this fucking thing. So it was a descending triangle. It peaked all the way up to here, right? So then you draw that down to here, and it essentially did that, right? It essentially bottomed right where I said it was going to. It got above peak volumes. It got above this trend line for the first time. That was resistance, 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 breakout. And now it looks like it wants to go higher. I think it could go up to $13. I would be a buyer of DFDV. I would be a buyer of UPXI, which is another Solana fund. I will compare their financials here in just a second. We're going to get really aggressive with chart day, guys, and I'm going to try and spit out all my stuff and then get a bunch of questions, and we'll try and do less news. So this should be really beneficial to you guys. To the 350 that are here, please hit the like if you haven't. Can somebody give me a like count? UPEXI. So again, something kind of similar in nature. We had a breakout of going back into 2024 of this downward trend. We established a base above the .618 retracement zone, or in this case, this was an extension zone. But we found the base off of it. We're above peak volumes all around and grinding above it. We have way less volume above us. And we could make a run, I think, pretty easily up to this 85% range before we start to hit key resistances. Let's look at the financials for both of these companies. Just let me refresh here. I might have to sign in if I have to do that. I do. Wish I didn't have to. Alejandro, if you're listening to me, please figure out a way to where I can token this bitch and not have to do that. Thank you very much. I love you. All right, here we go. Let's do a comparison. DFDV. Now 160. That's better. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. I really do. If you haven't done it, feel free, but I really appreciate it. DeFi Dev. So massive increase in revenues. Before we get down all that, 14% growth rate. That's for the end of the year. Obviously, 2026 is going to look uglier for data reporting. I'm going to look at estimates. Estimates still have this sitting high, but that's not including if Solana actually breaks out. Activity looks like more buying than selling, which I like to see, especially in Q1 of 2026. Huge purchases after kind of, a 2-to-1 ratio in Q4 2025. Institutional ownership, we'll get more data on that soon. I'm assuming it's went up. Short interest is insane. Is it really 66 fucking %? Is that true? Oh my God, I got to buy more of that today. Is that true? What the fuck? So cash flow obviously negative, right? But that can change. They got debts, but the debts go way out into the future. And they only started accumulating these in a decent number in Q3 of 2025. And they've got years to repay them. Does anybody know what the repayment schedule is? If anybody has Grok in front of them, look that up. Otherwise, I'm going to take that as a takeaway. But this is exciting to me. Just because it's so small. It's a $93 million market cap. 93. Do we know what their ratio is too? I need to look that up as well. I'm going to do that for you Pixie. I might even make a video about it this weekend, guys. I'm going to try and do some more specialized research for people, members only on YouTube. Even though I might post it on X too, but I'll probably do subscriber only on X. So you got to be subscribed to one of them, is what I'm saying. UPXI. If we look over here, revenue, small. Net income, negative. Right? It doesn't look as impressive as what we saw on the other screen. Shares outstanding, heavy dilution. The debt to assets, they've got their bonds in here, 114 million in bonds. They've got 3.4 million in cash. I don't remember exactly what their holdings are. I'll do that in the comparison video. Revenues have not climbed much. This is a $105 million company. Estimates are non-existent. I don't know why. I'll have to do a comparison here and also make sure this is representing the right information. I love this, though. I love the insider activity is showing insider buying. This one has a lower amount of short interest, 30%. So even though it looks worse on some of these other metrics, I got to double check all of them. So let me do that. The short interest is much lower. That's interesting and possibly telling. They might have a much bigger holding. They look pretty lean, 64 employees. in Clearwater, Florida. But I'm going to do deep dive research into both of these, and I'm going to do a publication. I'm going to try and get it done maybe over the weekend, and to let you guys know. But the short interest, if right, on DFDD is insane. That's just fucking batshit crazy. Anyway, so I think we got through treasuries pretty good. I do want to talk about, real quick, defense stuff. I should cover Hood too. Defense companies, ONDS. ONDS has a massive growth rate, guys. The chart, it had a rising wedge. It broke down. It started to consolidate. I don't have this painted because the chart hasn't been updated in a while. But, well, here, let's just fucking do this. Let's steal from this one. So you can see where we broke down. You can see where we had this as a resistance level, resistance level, resistance level. Tried to break above it. Found it support for a second. Broke down. Tried to get above it. Hit peak volumes. Broke down. Got down to the 200 moving average. Found our bottom. Broke the fuck out of this thing. And now we're really looking like this looks like a clean breakout. So I like what I'm seeing here on ONDS. Let's talk about the valuation of ONDS because I think that's super important. Again, this is a defense company. We like defense. We like defense because it's went down a lot. So I'm going to show you real quickly what I have for ONDS here, if I can find it. Let me do this. Control F, ONDS. How is that possible? It's here. Oh, you know what? Defense and war. I don't have its own category. So again, you can kind of see some of this. Autonomous systems booting up. Shea says ONDS revenue is expected to reach nearly $1 billion a year by 2028. So if you look here, what we're looking at for growth rates, let me zoom in. So there we go. 379 by the end of 2026, 379 from 7 in 2024. This is a huge ramp. By the end of 2027, 669. By the end of 2028, 966. That's pretty crazy growth. And I think that this is not priced appropriately. Let's just look over here and see what we have. I've got more about ONDS, but again, we know that the government is devoting an extra $500 billion towards defense. So if we look here, we can see the revenue ramp is real. We can see 1,000% growth rate. We could see a forward PE of only 14. I think that is so fucking cheap, and a PEG of 0.27. Let's look at what their estimates go to. Massive growth. We've already seen massive growth, but this is massive revenue growth. Let's go to activities. Stock buybacks are huge in Q4 2025. Institutional ownership is skyrocketing. Short percentage is at 40%. I'm buying more ONDS today. I'm fucking doing that. It's got a 14 forward PE. Also, ONDS says its Palantir partnership is helping connect air, ground, and stratospheric defense systems into one AI operating system. Their Skyweaver platform combines ONDS or ONDS, not sure how to pronounce it, hardware and autonomy with Palantir AIP to support faster decision making. Palantir is growing. Has done such a great job at the Rule of 40. Why wouldn't you own a company that has a forward PE of 14 that has the growth rate of what we just saw attaching itself to Palantir? Just so smart. I said I love that the military-industrial complex isn't making the rules anymore. What did I mean by this? Let's listen to the CENTCOM commander, Brad Cooper.
I'd like to use the opportunity to myth bust on drones.
Okay.
The days of $35,000 drones that we saw in the last couple of years, particularly in the fight against the Houthis in Yemen, those days are behind us. Today, we face an increased threat from drones that are highly sophisticated. They're jet-powered. They have high-end sensors. They have electronic warfare. They have signals intelligence. So those days of using high-value defenses to shoot down cheap targets are behind us.
You can't spend $10 million a missile to blow up a fucking target that's advanced and that they can make a shit ton of for $30,000. It's just the math tells you you'll go bankrupt.
Quite the contrary. What we have been doing lately is using our own low-cost one-way attack drones, attacking Iran, making them use higher and more expensive weapons. So I can confidently tell you.
I love that our Department of War is doing the right stuff. Anduril. Is Red Cat a part? Help me out, guys. No, it's Kraken, right? Kraken, real quickly. So ONDS, that's my pitch on ONDS. Dude, I think it's sick. I think it's a great opportunity. Are you guys interested in that? Do you guys like what you see here? This company, what is it at right now? Its market cap is $5.44 billion with a growth rate that's through the roof from the federal government, who's going to be more than happy to pay for it. And not just them, but they're partnering with Palantir. So this stuff is going to be used across Europe. I could see it across South America as they become more conservative. They could be selling this stuff Korea, Japan, Australia, India. I just think this is incredibly undervalued. That's my take. Also, if you like Anduril, which we're going to talk about in a second, you got Kraken. Kraken has retraced recently. It's still up a shit ton. It went up 3,000% in a very short order. That dropped down to only 1,700% as it dropped from $8 all the way down to $4.70. So it's rebounding quickly, and I don't know how long it's going to stay down here. It is what's the market cap? $1.67 billion company. I'm probably going defense shopping today, guys. I wish I would have been doing some more of it already. But let's look at the valuation on this one. There's just companies like this where they just look amazing. And so, I didn't mean to go off onto this. Let me just type this out, Kraken. I didn't mean to go off in this diatribe, but these charts are just too good and the finances are too good to not talk about it. So Kraken Robotics going up, doesn't show revenue growth year over year. It shows that it's kind of sidelined, went sideways. Cash to debt looks great. Shares outstanding, they did a lot of dilution here this last year. So they had kind of a step up in 2024. They had a lot more here recently. Operating expenses going up, forward PE 92. So maybe this one's a little rich, but look at the ramp. So I don't know if this one grinds sideways for a while and I do well on ONDS and some of these others, I might be looking at this because the ramp gets sick into Q3 of 2026. If their estimates start to hit into Q3 of 2026, we're talking 124 million from what is 20 right now. So that's a 6x increase, right? So that's pretty interesting. A 500% boost in a period of a year. Not even a year. I'm sorry, a couple months of quarterly reports that will report near the end of this year. Is pretty interesting. So we'll see what happens with this one too. It's so small in a market cap though. It actually says in here that the enterprise is 2.2 and the market cap is 2.3. That's still really small. It's half the size of ONDS. So that could be interesting too. Let me see what else we got here. So hopefully some of those are helpful to you guys. These ETFs, the PWR, the EUZ, the BOT, all these kind of ETFs, I'm going to do some research to try and figure out the valuations of the companies. I can pull up charts with them, but honestly, man, it's just like, I don't know. Real quickly, I would like to have a full picture. I don't want to just talk about something ignorantly. That has not treated me well in the past. Real quickly, Robinhood. I still think this is a really good play. I think we're doing a diamond pattern here. My buddy Cantonese Cat was talking about that. I think he's right. I think by the end of the year, beginning of next, we could be up 128 or 25% from where we are right now. I think that's very possible. ZETA, I want to talk about that because software seems to be getting a pickup. And maybe I need to pull up now. If you guys want now, throw it out in the chat. Real quickly here. ZETA just got beat up after their earnings. I think that was unfair. I think there's a miscalculation in what's going on within the company. Software is starting to come back. It started to get a little boost yesterday. It was up almost 3.5%. Maybe not as much as what we see with some of these other parabolic companies like optical and all these other things that have been just rocking and rolling data centers. But this thing has some upside. I think it's got a 52%. Once I think we can break through this next attempt here. I think we can break higher. I think this thing can go up 150%. I'm not. This is a $4 billion company. If they keep scaling the way I think they're going to, they can go up a lot. They also had a partnership with Snowflake here recently that looks pretty interesting too. That I think just helps their data moat case even more. Let's take a look at now. Yeah, sure. Throw out more things that you want to look at, guys. I'm kind of grinding through what I want to look at, but if you guys want to pull things up, let me know. I need to make a copy. I think the now CEO looks like a douche. That always turned me off from him. But I don't know. I love the embracement of AI agents, and it sounds like they might specialize in it, and businesses are going to become very profitable off of that. So it's interesting to see. I'm interested to see what these guys can do. Wow, they fell off a fucking cliff, didn't they? Holy shit. Bottom was right here. That peak in volumes is just not going to be surpassed. One of the highest volume candles this company has ever had. Next one was November of 2019. And that was pointed to the upside. So this thing got brutalized. How far down did it go? From $240 down to 81. Shit, is that 60%? That is a drop. That is a painful drop. Do you guys like how quickly we've went through today? In about an hour and 15 minutes. I feel like we've done a pretty good job rocking and rolling. If you agree with that, please hit the like. Throw out some comments. 66%, so down 2/3. That's a drop. Probably not a green either. Let's put a red on that. That's a drop. I'd say that's safe to call it the bottom, honestly. So if I'm calling a bottom, let's figure this out. All right, so now, God, there's so many things I'm interested in right now. Pun not intended. So if the fundamentals of this company are good, and I think they might be, we're going to look at some financials in a second so we can at least get a better view of that. I should lock this too. If the fundamentals are good in this company, then really we're underwater right now, and we've got a peak in volumes on our local time frame. The next peak goes down to 50 something. Unless this company is very fucked up, I don't think it's dropping another 40%. I think 66 was enough. So large volume peak, there's a natural push that will want to get us above water, which is right over here at the 117, 118. So between this 110 and 118, we've got nothing but green basically pushing us up. This is deep green. This is light green. Okay. It wants to get us up to that point. And so I think you've got a pretty easy turnaround in this. It looks like it's up in pre-market. I think software is going to continue to do well. I think you got an easy 25 to 30% on this, just an easy. So if you want to diversify, if you want to get back in, if you like this company and you know it really well, that might be something you want to look at. ARCG, yeah, we should do that. I've got that. I'll try and pick up the others in between here too, guys. I'm going to try and focus on the best content first. And then if you got something really good, put it in chat and sell it. Give us your elevator pitch. Tell us in a real quick sentence or something why we should look at it. Otherwise, I'm going to do it based upon what I think the priorities are. This has not gotten any love, ARCG. It went up 383% in less than a while back, and I think it could still do something like that. But if you look here, this downward trend, it has established a base above it. This is a bull flag. It's looking to go higher. I expect us to get back up to the 40 range here fairly easily. And I still think that we can get up here. I think this thing can double. It's only a $1.16 billion ETF. The narrative will change, just like it did with Robinhood. Everybody hated Robinhood, and then that changed, and then it went straight up. Everybody hated Palantir. There was some guy showing his dick on X who invested all of his money in it. He started showing his penis. Does anybody remember that guy? I don't remember his name anymore. He lost his mind because he lost all of his money with Palantir and went down like 90% and just started showing his dick to the world. And so people hated Palantir. They hated Robinhood. They hated Vlad Tenev. They were never going to use the app again because of GameStop. And all these things turn around, right? So you can't use hate and emotion to dictate things. It never turns out well. All right. So yeah, I think all those are going up. I don't know. I hit a button. Let's look over here, see what else we got. Marvell. Yeah, let me start up higher up. Our PWR and STRL, are those both ETFs? Can somebody tell me? Marvell. Let's pull up Marvell. If there's any other charts you want to see of our common stuff too, throw it out, guys. MRVL. Do I have that one? Nope. Okay. Going to make a copy. And we'll keep grinding away here for another 5 minutes, and then we're going to quickly jump over to that other economic data. But if you guys like the flow, if you want to see more of Chart Day and more charts in Chart Day, please let me know. Show the love. What were we looking up? MRVL. Let's do that one. And again, we'll build these out. We'll build a thesis out on the ones that we start to talk about all the time. We'll start to increase the research that we do. With Grok and other tools. I'm trying to work on Claude, but I'm increase my understanding on it a lot. but I'm going to try and do more of that. I don't know a lot about this company. It's 159 billion. If you guys have your elevator pitch, throw it out. Back to ONDS, huge short interest. That is grinding on the stock. Dude, I am buying the shit out of that this morning. I'm going to buy the shit out of that. I mean, at least some, right? Maybe 10K or something. I've got to add more. There's a reason it was up 30% yesterday. I work in AI. I can help with that. Cool. All right. Sweet, man. If you have any good videos or anything, when I'm posting stuff, or just DM me too on X, I'll be happy to talk to you about it. Let's look at, before I draw any funny lines, let's actually go in here and look at Marvell. Also, if you guys have any news events you want me to talk about, something that comes up during the video, throw it out. Forward PE 44, PEG ratio 2.6. So this tells me on PEG it's a little bit worrisome. PS ratio, PB, all these things are a little bit thick and heavy. Profits are going up a lot. Let's look at revenues. Revenues are going up. Cash flows look good. Their actual assets, like bond-related and cash assets, are looking better versus their debt. They're actually buying back shares. Their expenses are going down. That part all looks good. Let's look at estimates. Estimates are climbing higher, so we like that. Still got a high forward PE though. Just remember, you can buy right now, this morning, Micron, and like the 8s on the forward PE instead of 44. You can buy that, or you can get in the 6 and 7s with DRAM because of Hynix and Samsung. So 6 or 7 versus 44. Just remember that. So again, revenue's going up. I like that. Activity, it's not like they were doing more selling than buying last quarter for insiders. Their short interest is only 3%, so you're not going to get an explosion there. Institutional ownership is flatlined for a while. My thoughts, this isn't very interesting. That's my thought. Now, if they're sandbagging or something, somebody knows way more than I do. I think the opportunity came for this and went when in February the stock was at $70, and this morning it's at 171. So I don't personally like this one. Just at a glance, Tesla buyback. What happened? Not my business, but for all the work you do, you should charge more. I'm not going to. But you guys can repay me by subbing on YouTube. I think you can do as low as $2 a month. Subbing in Discord, I think that's like $4. And then I think it's $5 on X. X is probably the most valuable. I need to get all my charts. I need to clean up Discord. It's kind of a disarray. I need to update the portfolio allocation part. I don't do that when I do it on X. I'm going to fix all that stuff. I got to get my charts. I'm not really going to pitch that. So I think the $5 on X, and then if you want to talk, it's $2 on YouTube, is a pretty good value. $7. I'm not charging fucking $200 like some people, or $10,000 an hour. I'm sorry. My time is not that valuable. I would like to think it is. But I'm also not doing this to make a bunch of money off of other people. I'm trying to provide the wealth of knowledge that I hopefully am able to provide, unless I'm just delusional and think I more of myself than I really am. Cough me, Kevin. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm not raising the prices. If I do end up raising prices later, it's going to be like a 4% or 5% increase because inflation was that. You know what I mean? Like, just to keep the riffraff out, but it's not, I will not be charging $100 per sub. That's not going to happen at all. If you're going to do that, you should just do Fund Strat. If you get enough people to sign up, you can get a good deal. Don't get other people. Anyway, Anduril, we were talking about that a little bit ago with the Kraken one, and that looking okay. Kraken looked okay. Red Cat, I think, looks okay. Red Cat, what is that one? That one's a $1.29 billion company. I do want to look at this real quick. Give me a second on this one, guys. Red Cat had a rising wedge. It looks like it's got very peak volume sitting underneath of it, going back years. So this could be a good base. I could see it getting above the 50. I could see it trying to go higher. And then eventually trying to at least test back up here to the $18 range, which is a doubling, right? Let's look at the finances on Red Cat real quick. I'm getting very excited about defense because it's all fallen down. And I love that, right? Let's see. Is it in here? Am I not doing this right? Red. Let's just do red. Red. Reddit. Red Cat. Our cat. Okay. There we go. 849% revenue growth year over year. Let's look at estimates. Oh, wait, we got Rick Spantelli.
In this brand new facility, the first cargo of LNG importer of oil and natural gas in the world.
1.03 in February of 25.
Let me go back.
So it's significantly.
Doesn't sound like that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Got to hear this.
We're going to get some industrial production numbers here with Rick Santelli.
And then we'll
It's,
jump into my view.
9:15 East Coast. Hey, Rick.
And then it's back to charts.
Hi, Carl. Indeed, industrial production for the month of April expected to be up 0.3%, is up significantly more than double, up 0.7. Now, I can't see how many decimal places.
Fucking awesome. All right, hold up. We got to look at this. Thoughts on uranium? I don't really have any. I think uranium will go up, but I think there's a lot of speculation and a lot of high valuation in it right now. I'm not as interested in that play, but I need to really figure out my thoughts on energy. I'm thinking companies like ENPH are probably really good, along with a solar fund that I wanted to check out too. That my friend, oh my God, why can I not remember his name right now? Andreas Steno Larsen. That he was talking about. I think solar could actually do really well in batteries. So right now, honestly, those are my focus. I think gas can do good too, but I don't know. I need to really figure out my thoughts on that. But so we already had a New York Empire State Manufacturing that was crushing it. Capacity utilization is at 76.1, which is great. It means that we're using more of our production facilities, and that's great. Industrial production was 1.4%. It was expected, previous was 0.7. It was expected at 0.4. So there was expecting a weakening. That was the decline. But this is not weakening, and it's starting to pick up. And I think that's going to increase even more with what happened in Iran and what we're also seeing right now with China and other countries around the world buying from us. I'm sorry, Jesse, I got busy for a second. Did you go over USAR? Not yet. We'll go over that too. We're just getting caught up with economic data that just came out. So industrial production, better than expected year over year, 1.4. They were expecting 0.4. I love it. Manufacturing production, 1.3. They were expecting 0.2. Previous was 0.5. They were expecting a contraction. And what did we get? The opposite of that. Looks very similar to the other one that we just saw. So it looks like manufacturing and industry are starting to pick up. And that it's just been in the doldrums since 2022, mid-2022. It has been absolute shit until Trump got in here. And it started to grow, and then they thought it was rolling over, but it's not. I think it's getting ready to reaccelerate. So this is really great economic data. I love what we're seeing. Let's get back over here to Red Cat. We were looking at that, and then we were looking at the finances. So large revenue growth. Estimates are not here. Well, I don't know. I'll check other sites and see what they look like. We had more selling than buying in the end of 2024. We've got short interest in the 30+% range. So that's interesting. Let me see what sentiment is. Very bearish news sentiment. I've got to see what that news is. Very bullish on analyst and earnings estimates. So I don't really have a key into the future, so I'm going to leave this one alone. Cash Rich did a lot of dilution recently. I don't know. I got to look at this one and see what's going on with it. Very, very low cap. It says $1 billion in here, but is there revenue growth in front of it? I need to find out. Thoughts on silver and copper? I think silver sucks, and I told you it sucked, right? Did I tell you? Chat. Can somebody in chat back me up here? I told you it sucked. Now, it did do a breakout, but now it's doing a back test. It has to hold it here. It's dropping 7% today. That is such a freakish number. Copper is down 4.9%. So I think part of this is really just tied with yields on bonds too. That's another scary thing that people are worried about, which again, they've got oil prices, they got yields and bonds. But if you look over here, I said this was going to break down. It is not. It is broken higher. That will not last. We've got some room to run here. If you're looking down below at the RSI, you can see how it's got some room to run to continue to go higher. But I think this thing is going to double top or something. It's going down. We're just not going to stay up higher for longer. Those days are behind us. Jerome Powell's behind us. So I'm not worried about that at all. And let's see, copper got beat up too. Copper is down 4% plus this morning. So again, the copper play, I would say copper and silver are almost more of speculation. Silver has got like this weird hybrid copper gold thing going on. But I think the copper play has taken a big drop after hitting new all-time highs just the other day. And let's see, gold, what's gold doing today? And what's the Bitcoin to gold ratio look like? Very interested. 2.12%. That looks ugly. That looks like a back test to the 200 moving average if it can't hold this fib line. So I think that can still go lower. Bitcoin to gold. Bitcoin to gold looks beautiful. This looks like this is a monthly candle, guys. We got 2 weeks left in it, but it's 3 white soldiers off of a tweezer bottom. This is one of the best technical indicators you can possibly get. Just going to throw it out there. What do we all think about Intel? I think it's highly valued. I think the forward PE on MU is like 8, and I think Intel is what? What does Intel look like? And again, it's backed by Trump. Trump has made a ton of money for this one. Jordy Visser just bought some silver. Yeah. I mean, hopefully he bought it this morning because it just dropped a shit ton. I think that play is the metals play is pretty played out. Now, copper could do good, but again, everybody's switching from copper to optics so that they can get greater speed, and it just, that's why we're looking at growth going in that sector. And so that could, I don't know, copper is going to be everywhere still. So I think it's still going to do good. I don't think silver is very valuable right now, and I don't think gold is, and they're definitely going to underperform Bitcoin. So I don't see the point in owning them. But Jordy plays things a lot more conservative. The forward PE is 156 for Intel. So 156 for Intel. And don't get me wrong, they can grow, they can get bigger. They're a $582 billion company. Or 8. 156 or 8. I'll take the 8 hands down every day, especially with everything I've showed you about what I believe is happening in memory. I'm Bloom Energy. That is a strong long-term play. Yeah, all those energy ones, I don't know. Bloom, I think, is probably, maybe that's better. Maybe that's better. Oh, hey, thanks for joining, Ronang 1333. You can talk in chat now. I think Bloom is probably better than EOS. Right? At least that's my short-term impression. But I just, like, look at this estimate going up. And EOC, the last 2 quarterly calls I've listened to, and they haven't been many, right? The promises were always kind of like, we're going to make it better, we're going to do well. And don't get me wrong, their revenue growth is up a lot. 445. It's larger than that. Estimates show that maybe we're getting that's getting near the top. And they got like the Cerebrus deal, they got this other stuff going on. But it's all about execution. I need to know that they're executing well. I need to know that their customers love what they purchased. I need to know that they're getting it. Cerebrus, they don't even have this stuff yet. And so it's just, there's a lot of like, we don't have a lot of answers to what's going on with the company yet. I think Bloom might be better than that, but we'll take a look. Let's see what we got here. So revenue total for EOC was almost 60 million, incredibly negative cash flow, right? 154 million free cash flow burn. They had a net income, but I don't even know that if we can count it. Massive dilution still here recently. This thing's down a bunch. Let's look at what we are seeing here for Bloom. This to me is probably like considered the larger cap. Yeah, 73 billion. Probably more steady growth. It's more trustworthy. So you know that you're getting a strong increase. And you know that with this company, they've already had positive earnings recently. They've already had positive cash flows, not burning it. They are doing share dilution for expansion, but they're not burning free cash flow. So that's kind of more positive. They're pretty close on their cash to debt ratio. Let's look at other stuff. What's their valuation? 128 for the forward PE. Let's look over here at activity. Sorry. We see somebody selling in Q3 of 2025, some decent selling, but we don't see any insider buying. Short interest has dropped a lot. Again, this has become kind of a safer play. If future growth is what it is, which right here it said Q1 of 2026, 751 million. If by the beginning of 2027, they're pulling in 1.3, that is almost a doubling. It's a pretty good growth rate. And if they can exceed that, it's even better. So this one's safer, larger, less short interest. It's pretty decent looking. Remind us the name of that site. Oh, it's Visual Stocks, but it's with a Z. This is my buddy Alejandro. He's a good dude. He's on X. That's the company. I like it. It's one of my favorite tools. I use others too. I do have for earnings. I use Earnings Hub. I love it. I don't have any links or sponsorship or anything with that. And then I use Trading Economics for my calendar events. And then obviously you got to have like the CME in case we're talking about rate cuts. I don't even think that's going to be important anymore though. And then Bitcoin treasury sites. Like there's a bunch of sites that I use that I like. But if you guys ever have questions like that, throw them out. I really liked, remind us the name of the site. I don't know. I did that. I am in Bloom. It's a strong long term. Anet. ANEET. I don't know that one too well. FIVVN. I'll have to look that too. Cheers, Jesse. Presume you got asked about Rocket Lab a lot. Sold yesterday. Can't see it running much more. Any quick thoughts? Is Rocket Lab even... Let's look here real quick. I know... Yeah, that's a good... We need to look at Rocket Lab and stuff like that more. We need to look at... It's all the rockets have been running. I think Rocket Mortgage was running for a while too. Of course, it might be getting smashed now. But yeah, Rocket Lab, 63% growth. Let's look at estimates. So estimates are still kind of going up and to the right. You like to see it. Valuation, though. Valuation, still in the red. Still burning. Not just burning rocket fuel, they're burning money. $77 million in free cash flow in a quarter where they made 200. Could be worse. They have a lot of cash. They've diluted the shit out of people the last couple of quarters, which kind of sucks if you're a shareholder because it's depressed the price. Their operating expenses are going up. So they're not, what I don't like about this is I don't like that. I get why R&D is big, but SG&A is going up too. Kind of sucks. Economies of scale are going to make this better. It's going to get it to where their cash flow is more even. But yeah, what did the stock just launch from? It was at 57 in late March, and it got to 132. That's probably not a bad play. Just me taking a look at this from the financials. That's probably not a bad play. I mean, these guys have been selling their own stock for a while, right? They don't have a lot of short interest. You're not looking at a big lump or a big jump on that. Institutional ownership has went down. I don't know. I need to do more research, but I just think that SpaceX is taking so much of this, and their economies of scale are just so much greater. So much greater. Makes it really hard to get excited about that. What is a net? I need to look at a net. Let me see that. But we'll try and do more of these guys. I'll try and really streamline the news. I hope if you guys have appreciated this on X, please go in and like that post and put a comment in below it or share it for Chart Day. If you guys could do this for me, it would be huge. I'm trying to grow again. I really want. I made some mistakes in October, but I think I'm really working hard at redeeming myself, and also again just not getting too wild with things that can hurt people. So I'm trying to be smart about it. I'm trying to provide a lot of information. If you guys could, I'll just put this at the top to make it easy. If you could repost, if you can comment, and if you can like, comments are a huge multiplier. Even if you don't repost it, it helps me a ton. So I would really appreciate it. Real quickly here. Arista Networks, pretty good increases in revenue. Forward PE is 39. That's not crazy, but it's a lot higher than, again, a Micron or a DRAM. 35%, that's okay. I would hope for a little bit more, but this is just kind of a up and to the right company, isn't it? Cash and debt looks beautiful. They're making a lot off of bonds. They've got almost $10 billion in bonds, just pulling in their 4% or whatever. Free cash flow is what a cash flow machine. 1.64 billion off of 2.7 in revenue. Shut the fuck up. This must be software. This is hardware. Santa Clara, California, only 1.66% short interest. Yeah, wow, this thing's just up and to the right. So that PE, normally I would say it's rich, but this is such a performer. You can't really say it's rich. Short interest is non-existent. Institutional ownership just kind of grows along with it. Insider activity, they've been selling more. This isn't going to be a rocket ship to the moon, I don't think. Unless there's some stuff that we don't see in the estimates and they're sandbagging. I mean, this is a pretty good jump here, but like it doesn't appear like they're accelerating their estimates going forward. So it'll get better. It'll get better. It'll get closer to that forward P, but it's not a rocket ship to the moon, in my opinion. SEG and ASML, please. I don't know which those are. Let me do seg real quick. Seg. I mean, ASML, I know. Constellation Energy. I haven't looked at these in a while. Revenue growth, -11. Forward PE, 26. I care about estimates. So these guys have become highly indebted, more indebted recently. Massive share dilution recently. It doesn't appear like their operating expenses are very balanced at all. This is fucking crazy. I don't know what it is. But cash flows are not positive. Net income is positive. 482 million net income. Cash flow is positive, 425 million. Negative for free cash flow. Revenue, 6 billion. Let's look at estimates. So they're going to see an increase. Is it enough to warrant it? I don't know. This isn't going to be a rocket ship either, guys. They've been selling a bunch of shares. 4%, not even 3.6% short interest. This just doesn't interest me at all. Unless you know something. Unless you know something that makes it exceptional. It doesn't seem very interesting. Let me see here. SEG, ASML. I like to look at financials first just to see if I'm even interested in looking at the chart. You know what I mean? But if you guys have a reason I should look at the chart too, I can always do that. So these guys, total systems sold, they seem to have a quarterly number. Wow, that went up a lot. So, yeah, this makes sense. ASML, what am I thinking? So these guys build the lithography machines for the semiconductor industry. Nobody's willing to short it. It's 0.19%. Retail is very much in this play. Institutions are too. Insiders are non-existent. Cash is strong still. They're buying back shares. They have China-related risk, but they're expanding. Or I shouldn't, no, they don't have China-related risk, actually. Sorry, I was thinking TSMC for a second. Ignore that statement. Oh, real quickly, guys. Bitcoin is dropping, just like I said it was going to. It looks like if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see how it's underneath. It's like at 79. I still think we can go to 78 or 77. I'm a buyer today. I'm excited. I think people are worried about stuff today, and I think come Monday, it's going to be better. And they'll get excited again and we'll probably go up. That's my thought process. Just make sure that you're not overextending yourself and you'll be fine. So these guys are obviously going to sell a shit ton of lithography machines. Forward PE is 43. Let's look at the estimates. Estimates aren't actually that high, which is wild to me. Maybe it's just because they're limited by production capacity because these things are so complicated. That's probably what's going to keep them from being able to ramp really well. If you guys know the ramp, throw it out. ONDS, I did an entire special on earlier. I'll probably be doing a YouTube short on it too, okay? So you got plenty there. So looking at ASML, no insider activity to speak of. There's nothing you can look at there. The short interest is, again, gone. Sentiment's probably very positive. I don't know what to say about this. It's just, I don't know how quickly they can ramp. If you know how quickly they can ramp, awesome. Then you've got more insight than I do. Najarm, hopefully I'm not butchering your name. Hey, Jess, how do you see the SpaceX IPO impacting all the space momentum stocks? It's probably going to make them outrageously priced, but I don't think they'll be fairly valued. And they're not things I'm interested in because I don't like stocks that are just have really high valuations that they haven't met expectations on yet that have already run really hard. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of these stock companies, ASTS, all these companies, Rocket Lab, have run really hard. They remind me of Palantir, actually. I don't know if I have Palantir up over here. I want to pull that up real quick because I just want to show what happens. It's called Tesla syndrome, right? It's called my forward fucking PE is too high. And so when your forward PE is too high, you just stop and you break down. And now Palantir is getting ready to fall and try and test at best the 113 to 107 range. Now, if you own Palantir at 206 and you were talking about how it's the next big thing, hopefully you got in at $7 when I did, but didn't sell over here like I did. But if you're saying it's the next big thing at 200, you're going to be bummed when it gets to 100. And this company is still $320 billion. It was much smaller down here when I was recommending it in the sevens and buying a bunch of calls. And Tesla is just another example of that, right? Like if we looked at Tesla has again done well, but it made 31x, but now everybody bitches about it because all they remember is almost 5 years of sideways chop. And I don't blame them. So do you want a Palantir moment? Do you want a Palantir moment? Do you want a Tesla moment? Do you want that sideways chop moment where you just don't go anywhere for a while? That's what I think the space theme is probably doing. That's my thought on that. Artista Data Center, super company, super CEO, not explosive likely. I think ISRG is interesting at the moment. Optimus will not replace them anytime soon. See, I need to do, like I said, guys, I'm going to commit to doing a couple different kinds of research. I'm going to be looking at the EUZs, like lithography type stuff for ETFs. I'm going to be looking at bots. I'm going to be looking at space. I'm going to be looking at all these thematic things and trying to compare them and their valuations to probably like what I think Bitcoin companies can do and what I think the DRAM sector can do. So I'm going to be comparing all those things. It looks like the bell rang too. Thank you guys for sticking around. I think I'm going to stop it here. So I'm super stoked that you guys came here to visit me. I'm glad that I think in an hour and 40 minutes, we did a lot of really great shit. And I appreciate everybody that stayed here. I got some cool music for you from a dude I like. We started listening to it earlier. We're going to finish it right now. So you guys take it easy. I will see you maybe over the weekend. I might actually even do, I'm not committing to it, but I might do a political video on Sundays as well and make it 4 days a week. Anyway, you guys take it easy. Love you. Stay out of trouble. And I hope you enjoy the rest of this.
Every tragedy, but justify spend. Print for war, print for votes. Then blame inflation on grocery notes. They don't pay audits, they mock them. They don't fix fraud, they encourage it. Then call it complex, call it policy theft with no penalty. Tea in the harbor wasn't about tea. It was taxation without visibility. Inflation is the silent killer. Sucking your blood like a vampire thriller. Don't pay the bill, be absent. Now it's criminal, felony descent. Up to 5 years, concrete cage for evasion play. 100K fine, prosecution, call state, make you pay. IRS armed with badges and guns, not just pins. Threaten your freedom for the endless spin. Founders fought the crown for less. Own nothing, be happy. The friendly new order motto. IRS armed. Citizens prize. Meanwhile, senators trade on insider advice. Laws for thee, loopholes for me. Empire behavior always defends itself in the end. Open source code speaks louder than tyrants. Fixed supply, verifiable truth. Time-stamped honesty, uncensorable proof. Bitcoin is an exit from the debt slave game. Bitcoin is a revolt without bloodshed. Bitcoin is sound money, finite energy. Bitcoin is written in your eulogy. Yeah, you lost all legitimacy. Completely illegitimate. Laughable hoax, a paper empire built on lies. Sincerely go fuck yourself. When you've stolen our time, our sweat, our lives. No riots, we exit clean. Block by block, we are a growing team. Declaration of monetary independence. This is us, withdrawing consent. Sincerely go fuck yourself. This was time well spent. The founders didn't ask permission. They withdrew allegiance. History doesn't repeat. ignore it.